Ladies and gentlemen, or should I just say gentlemen based off the demographics of this channel, listen, I've got a great video here for you today. This is talking about one of my all-time favorite investing strategies, dividend investing, but more specifically, I've actually been investing every single day into SCHD, and I want to share the results, what that kind of looks like, and something a little bit cool about what I've been doing is we can compare this to the returns of investing daily into VTI. So two very different ETFs. One is kind of tracing the market, one is more focused on dividend investing, and we can see what those results are starting to look like. Now, this is something that I'm going to be documenting on the channel for the foreseeable future. It is like the main investing strategy that I am using in my Roth IRA, and let's just jump right into it. So I just popped open the Robinhood investing app, and this has taken me to my individual account. Now, I did mention that I typically go after this strategy in my Roth IRA. These investments, this $33,000 in this account, entirely different than the approach I was just talking about. This is a strategy for another video that you're going to want to be subscribed for. Let me click into my Roth IRA, and you can see it's relatively similar, $32,000 in this one. This is where I only have two different investments, SCHD and VTI. Now let's talk about the return of this portfolio. One thing to note on my Roth IRA here is that I transferred this in back in March of 2024, so there's not a ton of analytics that I can derive from the performance of this. However, since March of 2024, it is up 14.4%, which is pretty solid, up $4,126. Now, it was up more when I had this in M1 Finance, but then I transferred it in. Now, you might be wondering, why the hell did I transfer in that Roth IRA from another brokerage account into Robinhood? Well, it's because Robinhood offers some sweet incentives at different points in time to transfer more accounts in, and there was a match for just moving my Roth IRA into this, and it was pretty sick, the percentage that I was able to get there. On top of that, I always max out my contributions to my Roth IRA. So I've actually already attributed $7,000 into this account for 2025, and Robinhood has matched that up to a certain percentage, $210. Now, that is if you are a Robinhood Gold member, and I've got a video that explains all of it in the description of this, so you can check that out next if you're interested in potentially doing something like that. It's literally free money, and it is insane how valuable I think this is going to be for wealth building in the future. Now, as I scroll down, you can see the two different investments in here, SCHD and VTI. Now, the interesting thing is VTI outweighs SCHD currently in this portfolio, and that is because I used to be invested a little bit heavier into VTI. This portfolio once existed only VTI, and I had dividend investments in my individual account, and it was just kind of stupid because I was getting hit with taxes from that, and you want to make sure that you're taking advantage of the tax-free account like the Roth IRA, especially if you're doing dividend investing. Like, it's just a really, really solid vehicle for that. So let me pop back in here, and we will first click into SCHD, which is, as I scroll down, you can see it comprises of 44% of this portfolio. Now, I think for the sake of what I'm trying to do on this channel and with this series, I want to make sure that this is like 50% of the portfolio at one point in time. So I might reallocate and balance this portfolio at some point here in the near future. Maybe that's a lump sum into SCHD just to get it a 50-50 split between SCHD and VTI, and then I'm going to invest daily from there. Something like that, just I think to keep it clean on this channel and really have a solid track record, because some of the numbers and the analytics are a bit off solely because of that transfer. So in here, I've got 466 shares, a market value of $12,770, $25 price on average, and this is up 9.37% since it's been in this Robinhood account, so a little bit over a year now, up $1,093. Now, one thing that Robinhood doesn't do particularly well is track the returns in consideration with dividends that you are paid. So one of the main reasons why people invest in something like SCHD is because they love receiving dividend income, and they can reinvest it back into SCHD to grow their dividend holding in the future. So let me scroll down and just show you some of the history of what my dividend payments have looked like since the inception of this and me transferring it into Robinhood. So as you scroll down, you can see the first dividend was back in March of 2024, right around the same time that I moved this investment into this account, $58. But you can see it quickly grew to $89, then $91, $102, $104, $119, and this is something that like really excites me. When you go into the menu and you're looking at the dividend payments over time, this is going to continue increasing and increasing and increasing, not only because I'm investing more of my money out of my pocket, but I'm also getting that snowball compounding effect from reinvesting the dividends. You can see every time that I am paid, there is that little note there that says reinvested. It's going right back into this, and that is going to make the dividend income grow with every single investment that I make. So I'm super excited to see what this turns into in the future. And I just thought it would be a good idea to compare this right now to where we're at with VTI. So again, keep in mind, it's probably a much higher return. I had been investing back in M1 Finance, one, and then two, it doesn't really show the dividends as well as I'd like it to. And that's why I might start tracking this on an external, site for clarity in the future. Now, if I click into VTI, something really interesting about VTI, it also pays a dividend, but I have a lot more money invested into VTI than I do in SCHD. And you can see that dividend that's being paid to me is only $48.09. Now, I remember when these dividend payments that I was getting from even SCHD were super, super minimal. And I'm going to scroll and just look at what the dividend history was for this, starting at the beginning, just because you'll see it is minuscule compared to what we're getting from SCHD and some of the other investments that I have in these accounts. Started at $30, $36, $37. This one is going up much slower than what you saw SCHD going up, and that is because it doesn't focus heavily on dividend stocks. If you look at what this is investing in, let me just scroll up a little bit. You got the sectors. Very tech heavy in this portfolio. 31% of this ETF is right in tech stocks, but there's some of my favorite stocks: Microsoft, Nvidia, Apple, Amazon, Meta, Broadcom. These are the highest holdings in this portfolio. And so there's a big impact on what that does in terms of the performance. So you'll see we've had sort of a tech boom since I was investing with this stuff. Even in the past, year or two, tech stocks have done relatively well. And that's why this one, the stats look a little bit better than what you were seeing from SCHD. Got 52 shares. My average cost is $242. You'll see there is a big difference between my average cost and what it is currently trading at, $305. And that is because this focuses primarily on growth. And that's why I'm seeing a $3,300 return, up 26%. So a lot of the growth is coming from that. I like to supplement that with dividend income. I just like something about dividend income really keeps me investing, and I really, really love seeing those payments. It keeps me honest with it. When there's downturns in the market, getting paid dividend income makes me feel a little bit more comfortable, makes me want to invest more and continue growing income in that way. Because let's face the facts, pretty much the only way that you can get true passive income is through something like dividend investing, because all you do is put in the money up front, and then you just sit back. It doesn't matter where you are, what you're doing. You are just going to be paid for holding on to that fund. It's just super, super cool. And there's other things that you can do. Some people make the argument younger investors should be targeted more towards growth. I think that there's definitely room for both. I've skewed more as a dividend investor because it works for me. I've got investment properties. I'm kind of like a less risky person when it comes to investing. And so that's why I kind of like the stability of what you see from dividend investing. I also think in the future, we're going to see a little bit of an unstable market to a degree. Like there's a lot going on, a lot of turmoil out there in the economy. And it's going to be really interesting. I think a lot more people might end up turning to dividend stocks, and in return, they're going to grow in value. And it could be a lot more competitive here in the future too. So that's just something to keep in mind. Listen, now that we're on the topic of stability and less risk, let's look at my Bitcoin investment, because Bitcoin's been really interesting for me. Now, I used to not really invest at all into Bitcoin, and now I'm investing into Bitcoin every single week. It's not much, it's just $100, but it's been really interesting. And I've actually been investing in Bitcoin for now over a year, $100 every single week. So it'll be cool to kind of look at the results of what's been going on. Now, I've got some Bitcoin in a private key storage that I have, but also I just want to note that like my general thoughts on Bitcoin is, first, I like traditional investing, right? Going and buying stocks, ETFs, index funds, love all of that stuff. Bitcoin and crypto for me has been a love-hate relationship, mainly because I've had some really, really solid success with altcoins that like are junk coins, but I've just done well with them because I got extremely lucky. I was like gambling before. And then I hadn't really been investing in Bitcoin for a long time, but my general thoughts is that it belongs in almost every portfolio to a degree, mainly Bitcoin. I don't know much about the other altcoins that are out there. And that is because I think there's too much upside opportunity for the potential downturn that you might get through investing in something like Bitcoin. So what I try to do is set parameters or guidelines. For a long time, I didn't want more than 5% of my net worth to be in Bitcoin. Right now, I'm probably sitting somewhere around 6% if you include the other storage options that I do have. And I'd like to be no more than 10% of my net worth in Bitcoin. And that's just purely what I'm comfortable with. Now, this has been really cool because I've been investing investing $100 every single week into Bitcoin. So if I click in, we can see some pretty solid results as to what's been happening. Now, if you look at the past year, it's pretty easy to see Bitcoin is up 75%. And that's pretty crazy. So let's look at where this position lies on my account. So I've got 0.04 Bitcoins. The value of this is $5,165, and my average cost is $80,000. This makes up 15% of, I guess, the individual portfolio mixed with the Bitcoin stuff that I have here. So that's just something interesting. I am up 33% on this investment, and I'd say for the most part, this is just about a year that I've had it into Bitcoin. So it's really cool to see some returns like that. It just showcases the difference between investing in something stable like SCHD and something that is poised for more growth like VTI, and then something that's a little bit more speculative, I would say, but there's been a lot of traction that's been made on Bitcoin, and I've bought in at lower points in times, and it's been really exciting. But from now on, my plan is just to hold on to each one of these. I never want to have to sell any of this stuff. I'd like to be a whole coiner someday. That'll be interesting to see just how the price of Bitcoin kind of goes up over time. Now, if you guys did take anything away from this video, it would mean a lot to me if you click that like button. If there's anything in particular you want to see, leave a comment down below. Thank you for checking out this video. I can't wait to do more dives into my portfolio and talk strategy. Other than that, just have a great day.